Good day. So let us begin now. So here I have some things for you. This time it is about social mediums. So bureaucrats are using the power of social media to humanize governance. This is an article by Surichi Kapoor Gomes. Behind every highway ribbon cutting, every vaccination drive, every election queue that curls around a government school stands the Indian bureaucracy, a roughly 10 million strong public workforce across the union and states, including 5,000 plus officers of the elite All India services such as the IAS, IPS, and IFOS. So, India has inherited its steel frame from the Raj. Yet, the verdict on bureaucrats swings widely. To some, they are nation builders who carried out land reforms, green revolution logistics, the mammoth exercise of conducting the world's largest elections. So, the red tape, as I said, to others, they embody what is the red tape, slow files, opaque corridors, and colonial hauteur, which is dressed in khadi. Now, however, India's bureaucracy is undergoing what is a visible and at times dramatic transition into the public square of social media. District collectors and police commissioners who once communicated through typed press notes now post real-time updates on X and Instagram. So during floods in Assam, for instance, the district administrations have used Twitter threads to announce rescue helplines and relief camp locations within minutes. So the police departments in cities like Mumbai and Bengaluru respond to traffic complaints on social media, tagging field officers and resolving issues publicly. A pothole complaint that earlier required multiple visits to a municipal office can now be geotagged, photographed, and escalated in a single post. So, in this article, social mediums. So, Richi Kumar Gomes goes on to say that this digital turn has altered the texture of governance. For many Indian bureaucrats, the holy grail isn't the Padma Shri. It is the blue tick in a leaked WhatsApp group titled Civil Cervix. Officers debated whether to DM Elon Musk after new verification rules dropped. I should be verified by default, wrote one. I cleared prelims and mains. Another protested I handled 2 districts, 4 floods, and 1 unpredictable CM. At least give me Twitter analytics. And why not? If Descartes were alive today, he'd probably say, I post, therefore I am. Consider Divya Hosur, IAS 2012, Defense Estates Officer for Karnataka and Goa. On a blazing November afternoon in Goa, her ponytail bobbing in the heat, she crossed the finish line of her first Ironman race. The same tenacity powers her day job, fending off encroachment on defense land, negotiating between the armed forces, non negotiable discipline, and state governments' welfare driven compulsions. Her trajectory runs from a Kannada medium school in Chittadurga to the Defense Estate Service, with earlier stints in the PMO International Corporation in Bangalore Metro, where WhatsApp ticketing took place. Her governance philosophy is disarmingly simple: be accessible, with no complaint portal at the metro. She shared her number and was flooded with messages on dust, noise, waste, breakdowns, trees, and off duty she seeks stillness. Saris are her armor, Vipassana her anchor, poetry her compass. External stimuli does not unnerve me, she smiles. Shreyas Hosur, her husband and fellow civil servant, provides the countercurrent. When Shreyas ran the 20 Bridges Marathon, Divya was his crew for 9 relentless hours. Later, she wrote on Instagram, I wish to be not just his Sita, but also his Lakshmana, his Hanuman with devotion, his Vibhishana with counsel, even his Jatayu with courage. If bureaucracy has found its content era, the Hosus have given its narrative depth, romance, resilience, and a reminder that identity must exceed rank. The age of the content bureaucrat isn't just about flexing, trending, or getting verified. It's about reclaiming visibility in a system that often erases its own foot soldiers. In the end, whether through reels, dashboards, flood banks, or Ironmans, a newer message is emerging. Power doesn't just govern anymore, it performs, it connects. So, in Bengaluru, a single tweet from the new BDA commissioner sparked a quite upheaval. If you have a long pending grievance, send a photocopy to the BDA helpline. Days later, citizens lined up with paperwork and walked out with issues finally resolved. For Major Manivanan, Punaya, invention comes from necessity. So, born in Bodhinaya and Kannur to a lower middle class SC family, he dreamt of DRDO, cleared NDA, and the NDA services as well. So, where the soldiers' speed met the bureaucrats' deliberation. So, in Mysuru, encroachment drives earned him the demolition man moniker. So, he prefers accessible. During COVID, accessibility became a lifeline. 1300 plus cases closed via social media, and Twitter doubled as complaint desk and reality check. For once, people were talking to the state without intermediaries. Now, as Principal Secretary and BDA Commissioner, the terrain is tougher. Bengaluru's land, infrastructure, and corruption. But the ethos is unchanged. If you sit in Vidhana Saudha and don't connect with the common man, there is a problem. Integrity for him is non negotiable. Howard taught him honesty is relative. Military training left its imprint. On Twitter, he calls himself half ignorant, half rebellious, full optimist soldier. At the Mahakumbh in 2025, G.S. Naveen Kumar watched pilgrims step into a newly unified Ganga which was the product of a massive river management exercise that fused three strands into one flow, added 22 hectares of bathing space, reclaimed 800 acres, and digitally logged 60 million visitors. So before Uttar Pradesh, he overhauled Andhra Pradesh's health stack, winning 7 national awards. His rule of thumb: if there's a long queue, the system is wrong. Now he's building digital twins for dam safety, pushing laptops in UP, and preparing for India's shift to non communicable diseases where early digital screening is the key. So the Chennai bred engineer picked the UPSC in 7th grade, studied 15 hours a day, and he is now the Secretary Irrigation and Water Resources Department UP and heads the state arm of the. Taking a pause there, don't go away. We'll be continuing with this again later. Till then, let's just move on to another part which is an article by none other than the one who did Mary Com's thing. So we're doing that. So she depicted it. It's Priyanka Chopra. You guessed it right. So we're doing that. It's not every day. As I said, it's not every day. It's not every day you get to be a pirate. So Priyanka Chopra Jonas here talks to Katie Ellis, and this is about
Incoming voice call from
pirate.
Sumati Sales.
So this is about talking pirate, and we're just going to get back. There's a call that was coming in, so I'll get back to them. So it's not every day that you get to be a pirate. So Priyanka Chopra Jonas had talked here in an interview to Katie Ellis, and this is about turning pirate, which is for her new movie, The Bluff, and how her experience as a mother made her connect to the character. So at 43, you'll see that Priyanka Chopra Jonas just throws herself into this role, which is with a kind of rookie zeal. So training to be a pirate meant bruising stunt drills. It also means mastering what is a sea-worn swagger. As I said, the swagger is a kind of walk. It is a kind of walk where you walk with, they say it's usually for a man, the way they walk. So the swagger is a particular kind of a walk where they actually just stroll into a room with a lot of macho action. So that is a swagger for you. It's SWAGGER. A swagger. A swagger is exactly that. It is a kind of a macho walk that men do. Action, as said here, has always been her happy place. So I'll repeat that for you, that sentence particularly. Training to be a pirate, which is doing it in her new movie The Bluff, meant bruising stunt drills and mastering what is a sea-worn swagger, an action that has always been her happy place. So shooting in the Caribbean brought salt, sun, and also the thrill of the unpredictable. It's a fitting backdrop for a career that's built on bold pivots. And she has journeyed from being Bollywood's superstardom to global projects, motherhood, and also life with Nick Jonas. So the pirate metaphor suits her. Why? Because it is restless, it is ambitious, it is forever charting new waters. So, what can you tell us about The Bluff? That was a question put, and the answer for that is it's a really exciting, action packed story about this female pirate who has given up her pirating ways, and this is to live a very quiet island life with her family. But when that peace is shattered and her past comes back to threaten her and her family, that's when all hell breaks loose. So then that is when this becomes really dramatic. It becomes brutal. It becomes a visceral fight for survival. Now, we go on to the next question. How did you manage to get into the mindset of a pirate? So, being a pirate, getting into the mindset of being a pirate, what does that mean? When the script first came to me, I didn't actually know that there were other female pirates too. I didn't even know the fact, as she says, that they were female pirates. It's always this male thing that we hear about, male pirates. I never heard of the fact that there could be female pirates too. So I did a lot of research and then was fascinated by this Irish female called Grace O'Malley. Grace O'Malley was known as the pirate queen, and this was way back in the 1500s, 1500s. And there are tales of female pirates who even fought battles while they were pregnant as well and carrying. So I really went down a rabbit hole and discovered so many incredible tales and stories about these very brave women. The next question is that you worked with the Russo brothers on Citadel. Citadel was another interesting series that I too happened to watch about this spy thriller. So, what is it about them and the directors that you enjoy? So, her answer for this is I just love collaborating with them. And this being said, in such a specific time period, was so different and exciting that I felt lucky to be involved. Your character, Ursula Borden, that was the name of the character that she was taking on, Ursula Borden. Will you do anything to protect her family? So, as a mother yourself, is that something you can identify with? So, her answer for that is, of course, I think it is something that will resonate with all parents. It's certainly the reason I responded so strongly to the script when I first read it. So, this was about 2 years ago. So, I was a new mom with all the emotions that come with that. So, I kind of understood that Ursula was a character and the extremes that somebody like her will go in order to protect her child. So that is what she says, and she understands the character very well, as she herself is a mother, of course. The next question was, how do you and Nick make up your own family works? How do you make your own family life work when you are both so busy with so many different projects? So the answer for that again is that we both understand what it takes to have the careers that we do and to be part of a family. So how challenging was it to play a Caribbean character, and one that was from such a different period of time as well? So the answer was, it was a challenge, definitely. I had to learn how to speak differently, and of course I had to look different also. So I also felt a strong sense of responsibility. That was definitely part of the career. So being a pirate, as I would like to put in over here, it's not part of this article, but I would like to put in here is that being a pirate as well has a certain amount of responsibility associated with it. So the history of it, the themes of colonialism, all of that gives a sense of responsibility. I wanted to be as accurate as I possibly could. There was no room for any error. In other words, there's no room for any error. So the action scenes are intense. What were they like to film? So each one took a lot of preparation. Everything needs preparation, preparing, trying, and a lot of hard work as well. And a lot of precision. There's no room for any mistake. So a lot of precision. So she says she works so much with the stunt team to make sure that we not only got it right for this scenes, but also that no one got hurt in the process. Most importantly, nobody gets hurt also. Everybody is safe as well. The safety is ensured. At the same time, work is getting done as well. And the next one was, were any injuries suffered in the process of the whole thing? Was any injury suffered? So she admits to the fact here that just a few cuts and bruises were there. You will have to expect that also when something like this is going on. So she says she's lucky enough to work in this genre a few times, and so she trusts her body. She trusts there is this trust that you have with the people who you work with. So being around them also helped to meet that challenge, and the stunt team also supported her, she says, and they pushed me to do as much as I could possibly do. So it's not every day that you get to be a pirate as well. It is something very unique. It is something so different that one only dreams of these kind of things that you can do in your life, which is to be a pirate. And the next question was that you're also the producer on the movie. So did you enjoy doing that? So the answer was the bluff. The bluff, which is a kind of, like you could say, putting one on somebody, a kind of cheating them or something like that, is actually she says it's actually her first one as a producer. So she got to be really brutal, and being this female pirate is something so unique in itself. Then she was asked that you started out as a model before becoming this Bollywood actor, finally this Hollywood star also. So did you grow up dreaming this? Was this the dream that you had when as you grew up in the childhood and so on and so forth as you reached adulthood? Was this what you really wanted? Was the question. So the answer for that is I really didn't. It is a profession that is something that was not going to be a possibility for me. Then, after winning that beauty pageant as well, it just kind of happened. And she never went to film school as well. She had learned on the job, just picking up things, you know what I mean. That's my input there for you. And on every set, from other actors, from filmmakers, it's been so lucky, she says, to just work with all of them, with all the experienced people, and you just pick up and learn things on the go. Then she says, of course, to end it all, that she feels very grateful when she gets to do this. She still feels like she was learning. So there's a lot of privilege that is felt when you're taking on the next challenge. So Asia Features was that one for you who brought out this article. I'm sure you'll enjoy it and feel that it is truly something that is close to you and will bring out a whole lot of uh, insights for you from this very interesting person who has done so many roles. Her life itself is a kind of a film, I would say. Here's his OTT review for you, which is titled here Close Enough for an Engaging Drama. It's called The Choril, in fact, The Choril. And it's directed by this Nicholas Hitler. The platform is on Prime Video. The genre here is drama, and it is also war. And of course, it's in English, and the rating that is given is 3 or 2.5 stars, as I would say. It's solid, it is simple, but it is still what claims to be, which is a formulaic World War kind of drama. So Nicholas Hitchner's A Quarrel has everything, but it still lacks what is a memorable war movie. So does it stay in your memory? Does it leave you as you finish with it? That is what is the biggest question, I would say. So it's set in a fictional town of Yorkshire where you're grappling with the impacts of the World War One, which is in 1916. So the choral in many ways tries to represent the views of this country which is during the Great War. The whole tale revolves around the whole story, in fact, revolves around this very German person, loving person, an atheist also, and a gay as well. That's played by this Rolf Fiennes. Rolf Fiennes is his name, and his character here is Dr. Henry Guthrie. So he is brought in by this choral society of Ramsden. He becomes a choir master and then he leads them for this performance. And this is after the current choir master joins the World War One. So, for this kind of a tale that explores humanity's connection with art, it marches on with cold precision, just like soldiers in a war. There is a coldness there is a precision there is an accuracy, there is no room for any mistake, in fact. So then the Choral Society of Ramsden holds auditions for this upcoming performance. As the auditions are conducted, we are introduced one by one to the characters. There is Mary, who is played by this Amara Okerek, who's a Salvation Army nurse. When she enters a room, even as she enters a room, she is quickly rebuked in the presumption that she is searching for donations. So while everyone in the room is pro-war, Bennett uses this very moment to introduce what is the hypocrisy that lies within that microcosm. As far as I would say performances are concerned, Fiennes as Guthrie leads from the fore. So Dr. Guthrie is an audacious man, he is also a homo, and he is also openly complimentary of Germany. He dodges sharp words and projectile bricks which are thrown against him for his contrarian views. Essaying Guthrie's very stubborn attitude, you will see that Fiennes delivers each and every dialogue with a kind of conviction that can fool the audience into believing that these very views are his own. So he is joined by a very strong supporting cast which includes Roger Allam as well as a well-meaning Alderman Duxbury, Okerek as Mary, Jacob Dedman as a wounded soldier Clyde, and then also Simon Russell Beale as the composer Edward Elgar. So it is actually, in fact, one of Elgar's compositions that Guthrie takes on to teach the group. But as Guthrie adapts the original one for the times, you see that Elgar becomes very contentious about the fact, highlighting here that yet another narrow view is there of this whole larger populace. So while Bennett's taught writing acts as a base, that is the base of it, that is a fundamental, as I would say, BL strongly marks his presence in those scenes. So while the choral has a lot of individual strengths, when you put it all together, it leaves the audience without so much as something to take away. There is music, there is cinematography, there are costumes, production design, all of that stick out as self-serving parts. But they don't add much to the storytelling as such. It might not be a very memorable one, but still it will keep you fairly engaged throughout its runtime. Then there are others that deserve a mention here, I felt. So we'll just go through that in quick. A short mention of them, which is a Bing box as it is claimed to be here. So it is After the Wind, where India's first BAFTA award-winning Boom is set to re-release in cinemas this March. This is a Farhan Akhtar produced Manipuri drama, and this follows the plot of a schoolboy. This schoolboy is just a schoolboy. He fights the tensions in the state, and he reunites the whole family and makes them return home. Then you have the very trending ones here, which are accused. It's on Netflix. And then this thriller is a kind of it's medical thing. It's following this queer surgeon in London when her life takes on a turn when she is charged of a misconduct. Konkona Sen Sharma and Pratibha Ranta take on this roles. Then you have Ikkis, which is on Prime. Agastyananda and Dharmendra are in it. In this plot, it is a film, it is a story is based on the youngest Paramveer Chakraborty. So the plot alternates between the war and also then his father's visit to the battlefield, which is years later. Then you have Dali and the Cocky Prince, which is on Z5. So it's a Korean kind of thing where the music owner dies, then her daughter inherits his debt. That's when her life changes, that is when a change takes place, her life changes when there's this businessman's son who arrives with help and of course potential romance then. There's 4 more shots please, which is on Prime, and the plot of it is the final season begins with Siddhi. Siddhi is a character here who finally gets hitched and the girl's helper realize that she's the right one. Then there's Tere Ishq Mein on Netflix, which is a romantic kind of drama. It is set against a backdrop of Varanasi, where you have this fighter pilot and then you have the psychologist. They both meet again many years later. And that's when they come face to face with their turbulent romantic past and then, of course, their unresolved feelings. Now, to end here, we'll talk about something called love, loss, and law, all else over there. And Pooja Talwar says that in the OTT Kohara 2, the series, there's Mona Singh and there's Barun Sopti, who inhabit a show that finds its power in what remains unsaid. So it's not said here, nothing is actually said or stated as fact, but in that thing itself, in that silence itself, a lot is being talked about. So here we'll go on to the next thing. In the second season of this Kora, you see that the fog is thicker, the cops are far more fragile, the crime may be the hook of it, of the story, but it is also the grief, the ego, the patriarchy, the private fractures that drive this whole engine. So this time when you step into what is the established universe, stepping into this very established universe is Mona Singh, who's Dhanvant Kaur. She's a cop carrying loss, just like a second skin. There's Singh, who has already been a fan. Singh now here has already been a fan of the first season. So when the call came, it was a celebration. Reading the script, understanding the whole character of Dhanvant, all of that was so complex, she says, and not very easy to play, and that is what she likes so much about it. So the challenge is something that I've never done before, as she further says. So if Singh is entering the landscape, then Barun Sopti returns to it. As ACP Garundi, he charts a very quiet coming of age. The ferocity of it hasn't vanished, it has matured. He's a little more controlled this time. As Sopti says, he's starting a new life with his wife. So there's way too much of this female influence in his life now than there was earlier, as he laughs. It's very delicate. So Guarantee is softer, she's more measured, more restrained with his wife and with Dhanvant. So the writers of the shares felt that season 2's Guarantee was closer to who he is off screen. So he's more evolved, and I think that this evolution is nice. Dhanvant, meanwhile, is not designed for comfort. She is navigating what is a personal loss, a fragile home, and a workspace that measures her worth against domestic success. So, a failing marriage becomes a professional kind of ammunition. So Singh underlines this hypocrisy that a woman's supposed inadequacy as a homemaker becomes shorthand for weakness in uniform. So that's how a woman is subjected to in a man's world, she says. So there are many layers to this Dhanvant, to this character called Dhanvant, and to peel off them, to unpeel all of them becomes a very challenging task. So Sopti recognizes this very same interiority in the show's writing. We're humanizing these cops, we're not idealizing them. As he says, they're flawed, they're emotional, they're deeply humane. So they're not just solving a case, they're also reflecting upon their own lives in a kind of self introspection thing, which is my input for you. So once branded television's romantic Prince Charming, Sopti has long stepped away from that mold. So I always figured that unlearning is a very important part, he says, but honestly, learning was a real deal for me on Quora. So the construction of this whole image of an actor lies with the perceiver. So I was never trying to build that image as such. For Singh, the preparation did not lie with rehearsing all of these lines. It began with dismantling walls. The workshops were, in her words, life workshops. So, emotional recalls, deep dives, drills that left her unexpectedly raw. I rarely cry, she admits. So, it's easier for me to cry in front of the camera than in real life. But in the workshop, she was howling constantly. So, there was so much pain that this Dhanvant as a character was going through. So Sopti's breakthrough came in the stillness of it. In the stillness of it. So I've always, as she says, she's always been wanting to act the way I have in the show for a long time. But I was always told to do more, and to be more louder, more expressive, as he says. So he recalls the first scene of season 1 with a big grin. I was so sure that I'd be told the voice was too soft, that I wasn't animated enough, and all of that. Instead, I was told that this is smooth, so I was surprised and grateful. I felt like I had just found my home ground. So, that perhaps is just what Kohara ultimately offers the whole people who are doing the thing, the roles, and also the audience. It is a home for restraint, it is a space where flawed people are allowed to simply be just that, just themselves. So that is it for today.